This is the Good Regardless podcast. I'm your host, Leslie Ariano.
Just made out with that coffee cup, y'all. My lipsticks are all over that. Okay. Welcome to the Good Regardless podcast. We're back again with another episode, but this one's very special because I have my longtime sis, Achi, Gypsy.
Achi in the building.
Gypsy, Achi, what are the names? Sista? Do you guys? So we've literally been friends for almost, I want to say like 15 years. We've known each other since middle school. We really have seen each other in many different eras.
All the eras of life.
All the eras of life. The life to just be life. But I think it's like, you know, we're in a good spot right now. I feel like we're both kind of in similar phases, and it just seemed right. Like, bro, how are we gonna have 15 episodes in and not have Achi on here? Like, that's
exciting.
Are you
Such
excited?
a blessing. I'm so proud of you. This is
thank you.
something I can't be more proud of you.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
Aww.
You go,
Cheese
girl.
hard. I feel so blessed to have you as a friend, and I feel like, you know, just the fact that we have gone through so much and that we're able to just be here in this moment. Like, I'm so grateful for you and, you know, everything that you've taught me and like the woman that you are, and just seeing you be such a powerful woman. And I think that, like, you know, it's been great that we've seen each other in different seasons, because now it's like come full circle, you know. And I think that that's really special because you're one of my oldest girlfriends. I don't have any sisters, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like biological sisters. So I really think that this is like that void, like that friend, that sisterhood, or like that feeling of a sister that I always wanted. Like, I get that from you.
Right.
So
God knew we needed each other.
amen.
He definitely knew.
Yeah, he knew. And like, you know, for those of you guys who don't know, we've grown up together, literally, you guys. Like, we've gone through it.
At some point, we lived in the same apartment complex.
Lived in the same apartment complex. Would literally, like, in middle school, high school, like, we would get into our things, you know. Like, I always remember, like, you know, when your mom would think that you were working at Dairy Queens, and like I was working at In-N-Out, and like we would literally just be out doing God knows what.
We like to be out.
We like to be out.
We were, you know, just wanting to see what was out there.
Yeah. And then one thing too, Achi. So the name Achi, which I don't even know at this point if it is even a name. You know, like,
From what we were told, it means girl.
it means girl in like Persian or something. No, we gotta get
Yeah,
that
don't
fact
quote
checked
us.
up.
Don't quote us on this because we don't know.
Yeah, no, we don't know. We heard it somewhere somehow, and then it kind of just stuck. Like, we heard Achi, and then like it just became a thing, and then it stuck. Like we did.
Yeah.
We stuck. You know. But one of the things that for sure I've always, I think you appreciate it now more that I'm older, but it's like always around the family. Like, definitely grew up together, and like we do have a lot of similar values, which I'm excited to kind of like get on here and have someone. First of all, I'm so excited to have someone to talk to. Number one, like, you know, I'm usually always talking by myself and looking a little crazy, but thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. This is exciting.
Yay, I'm excited. So let's see, where do we go? I honestly didn't plan, y'all. This is the first episode that I didn't do notes because I'm like, you know what, let's just
We're just kind
go
of
with
going
the
with the flow.
Yeah.
Really our intention behind this is just to kind of, you know, let God speak through us and allow us to just have this open communication without having any points, or
just kind of talk.
Just go with the flow.
Yeah. So you kind of were speaking about this to me previously, but kind of, you know, I feel like I've always known you as a woman who's believed in God, but your upbringing was for sure like that's been in your roots, you know.
Yeah,
like when we went hiking last time, I think you were telling me that, you know, which I didn't even know, that you grew up in a Pentecostal church.
Yeah. That household was completely different. My uncle was a pastor. And so we were kind of embedded going to church and learning these values and beliefs. And I think that was something that I hold to my core and with so much pride because I had the opportunity from a family member to witness certain things in a Pentecostal church that is a very powerful thing.
Yeah.
That not a lot of people on this planet will ever witness. And they might think it's a little crazy if they see certain things that you're not ever accustomed to witnessing.
Yeah.
So that was very powerful, and it got me through a lot in my childhood.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, you know, obviously, I think it's so beautiful to be around that and witness that type of faith and how that really can move you and be there for you in so many different ways. But like, how did that affect you as like growing up? Because honestly, like, I don't think I've ever told you this, but for sure, like, you are one of the strongest people I know in terms of like you handling everything. You always seem so put together, which you always are. Achi is the one like, she got it put together. She all 9 yards. Like, you really set the bar high, you know, like, even just thinking like the energy that you carry to other people. Like, for example, you guys, yesterday we went for a hike. We've been trying to get into our fitness because Achi's super into fitness, and you know, we've been working out, and she tells me about this guy. I think his name is Pablo, right?
Pablo.
And she was like,
Shout out to Pablo.
Shout out to Pablo. So she was
Abby's
like,
Luxury Flowers.
Ventura? Mm-hmm. Randomly calls this guy up. Angela is that type of friend. Like, you need an Angela because she has the connections and the plug to every single thing. Like, if you need flowers, if you need to get a ticket removed, if you need a SUV black on black, like, you just always got the hookup.
Head of Angie's list.
No, and not gonna lie, I gotta be super honest. Like, back then, I was a little, like, I was a little jealous. I was like, how come she always freaking, what's going on with that? But now I'm like, okay, like, I'm grateful for you that you have that. Like, we went to go get the flowers, charged me super cheap. But, like, I've noticed that about you. And that's something that, like, I think a lot of people gravitate towards you, which is beautiful. Do you think that has something to do with, like, your upbringing too and, like, your faith? Or what do you think?
I honestly,
the way that you carry yourself.
I will have to say that is something that my father carried. He was very charismatic. And this man, you know, I lost my dad about 2 years ago. And he was a Puerto Rican guy, loud, funny. And I noticed that when I was a little girl, I was like, I want to be just like him. And it was something that I seen a confidence in him where I didn't, you know, my mom is Salvadorian, a bit more modest per se. Right. But my father wasn't like that. My dad was like, I'm loud and I'm proud.
And I'm confident.
And seeing that as a little girl, you know, my father was by far perfect, but I did see that he moved different. He looked like he had it put together, you know, like at all times. He was in the military. So I just remember, you know, everything had to be done a certain way. It was structure. It brought a lot of awareness to my life that I didn't know, fast forward to being an adult, that I would have needed that. Versus as a kid, you're kind of like, you need to take a chill pill.
And now I'm
like, ooh, I needed that.
And what a blessing to have that. You know what I'm saying? Like, the way that you handle things, it is like such a what's the word I'm looking for? It's like I don't know if it's like the ode, but it's like going back to your dad. It's like a thing that he has given you, and like really, you know, that you get to now carry, and like hopefully, God willing, pass that down to your children. Right. And it's just like, he really did set that bar for you, you know, because it's like you walk into any room and it's like you come with confidence, but also like it's more of like it's kind of like an elegant thing too, which I feel like you've always been very good at carrying too, which is nice. So I'm sure that obviously, you know, we talk about this all the time, like that isn't something that you really see that often anymore, you know. Even just yesterday we were talking about that with Pablo, but the OnlyFans, he was saying how like a lot of women, you know, like we kind of strayed away from that for, you know, we kind of
it's that quick money lifestyle.
Yeah, quick money lifestyle. So you've always been growing up in church. Was there like a period that you stopped going to church, like after you did Pentecostal church, and then you Like when, because I know.
I think it was when my uncle moved. They ended up moving to Palmdale, and so the valley's a bit ways from Palmdale, so they ended up having a church out there. So I would say probably high school, when my dad got sick. Things did change for us a little bit. I was about 15 when everything happened, so I would say about 14, 15 was something where I still had obviously my faith, but it's not the same as you going to church, how we go to church Thursday, Sundays.
Right.
It's completely different.
It's like you're kind of like isolated.
Yeah, you're not surrounding yourself around.
So you do think that people need that? Because I think sometimes people are like, oh, if I have the Bible and I'm with my relationship with God, like that's kind of like, I feel like I've heard people say that, but I've only known this season of like me going to freedom. So I can't imagine not having a community, but I know a lot of sometimes people get hurt going to church or, dealing with certain kind of issues. So I get it. But at the same time, I feel like there's been such a strength in our friendship because it's been rooted in Christ, because we have that positive community around us where it's like now we have that rooted in our relationship, and I can only think that God, like, that is what he wants. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I will say there are differences between the church that I grew up in versus the church we're at now. I don't believe that God stops loving people because we fall into temptation or we sin or we commit our errors as humans. And versus, a Pentecostal church is a little bit, I will say, could be on the judgier side, versus now I walk into church and I feel good. Like, and I also understand it now. I'm not a child and I'm guessing who is God or what does this mean? And obviously I still have my questions, but I am a firm believer.
Right.
And so I do see the difference, but I do think going to church is beautiful.
Yeah.
That energy, you know what it is. It makes you just want to rejoice and jump and shout and whatever you're feeling, however your day is going. When you step foot into that room, weight is just lifted off your shoulders.
Weight is lifted. We're out here crying. We need some tissues. Like, we've been looking all crazy.
Yeah.
But it's something that it's so powerful. But I really think that like your upbringing of like going to a Pentecostal church and having that enlisted in, like, bro, I've known Angela a really long time, and there hasn't been an instance, like, obviously we've had our issues, we've had our fights, but like, you're not someone that I'm on the phone with and like negative all the time, complaining. Like, I've never really heard you ever really like have that sort of energy. And I think that it's very common for so many people to walk through life with that energy of like not being grateful, or just like they have like a hardness to them, where it's like they don't see the beauty in things, which is why I think that, to be honest, why you attract a lot of good energy is because you move that way. So that's something that I've really enjoyed, like, now being on the other side, because for sure there was like a period of my life where I was just not in that space. And I think that definitely transpired like in so many different ways and, like our relationship. So I think that's definitely pretty wild.
Yeah. I think we've definitely overcome so much, and just having Christ in the middle is a whole nother ball game.
It literally changed our friendship.
What?
It literally changed our friendship. Like, imagine, like, we've been friends since Claw. Back in the day, we had a little posse group. It was like a little three posse group.
Yeah,
and like we grew up like really together. But I really feel the second that we made literally Christ like a focal point in our relationship, like in our friendship, it was just a completely new thing. Like, unlike anything ever before. It's not even just like we reconciled. It was like we reconciled and then brought God into it. And then he really, like, we've spent, you guys, so much time, like, outside of church. And especially in the beginning, like, just talking about how good God is, talking about what he did for us and how he brought us back. And, like, that just, it makes me really happy. Like, I know it's just a little, maybe sounds kind of cheesy, but it makes me happy to know that like he he really just, you know?
Yeah, we definitely fought for this friendship.
Yeah, it was not.
And I think that's important. If you value people in your life, it's so important to humble yourself, right? Like, that's okay. Nobody's perfect, and we all deserve that unconditional love.
That's good.
That's good. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's perfect. Like, we're all gonna have our errors. But when you're able to recognize and walk with grace, that right there is... That's all you can ask for.
You move different. Like, and I think that for sure, like, because I have done, you know, if you guys haven't listened to the past episodes, I did kind of speak briefly about, you know, our situation, but like the way that you showed me grace, because y'all, like, you really didn't have to do that. No, like, on server, like, bro, like, you really didn't have to do that. And I just remember, like, even just that taught me so much on what it means to be a friend and what it means to have grace, because you went beyond what anyone would have to do. And like, I am just so grateful to have a friend like you who is like that, who has grace and who loves people despite all their mistakes, because just how you've done that for me, like, I want to now be an extension of that because of what you showed me. You know what I'm saying? And like, I always cry, but I'm not gonna cry right now. I gotta hold back the tears. But that was an emotional time.
Yeah, it was.
It was hard.
It was
hard.
But I knew that person that you weren't reciprocating to me wasn't somebody I knew. And I was okay with that, because I know the person I'm fighting for, I wasn't seeing who I was looking for.
Got you.
So I knew I'm going to give that space until you're ready to come forward.
Bro, and that takes like a real woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody else, like, even just thinking about during that time, like, bro, bitter, mad, angry for what? And like, it's funny that you say that, because Richard also told me too. He's like, I knew you had it in you deep down inside. like to be like, you know, like, not just our situation, but just in general. Like, because like, it really is like a new light that I always talk about on the podcast, because God really did fill that void in me that gave me so much light to really be an extension of love, because he gave me that love, because I've seen that love by people who really, like, you being a woman of God and showing me that. I'm like, okay, like, I feel this sense of love where it's like, okay, like, that was the problem, that I don't think I knew that before. Obviously, like, this all transpired, like, when I started going to freedom, when I started looking for God, like, that's when I really opened my eyes, and I was like, oh, wait, like, you better hit up Angella. Like, you know, like, it was crazy.
Yeah, that was valid. That was exactly what we needed.
No, it was exactly what we needed. I needed that little wake up call, that little break. Hold on, let me check this. You know, and it's been nice. And I also want to talk about the fact that Achi's dating someone, so she's now in the dating pool.
I'm in the dating era.
She's in her dating era. She's in her wifey era. Love season.
Wifey season.
Wifey season. How's that been?
Wow.
Wow.
It's something you don't anticipate to find. You know, and sometimes you kind of shove it out of the way because you're not sure if you're ready, or is this for me? What does this new journey look like? And I had my good single era,
which was to me wild, first of all, because like in high school, I feel like you had relationships, and it wasn't until after that you really decided, I'm gonna do me, and I'm gonna be single, and I'm gonna really just figure out what it is that I want. And I think that it was after your last relationship that you're like, for what? You know, like, let's just be single.
Yeah.
And this relationship kind of did happen really just out of the blue. And I think I took that time to be single to find healing, to find that I will never lower my standards. Whoa, was that good? That's a big one.
That's a big one.
Because a lot of women lower their standards.
It's not worth it. Like, I'm telling you, when you sit back and you are patient for what is coming, that is yours.
Yeah.
Like, I will never tolerate things that are in the Bible to never tolerate.
Yeah.
Because, you know, there are only certain things that can void a marriage.
Right.
And I strongly believe in that loyalty, in that faith, that commitment. That's important.
The security and to knowing that you're with someone that you don't got to worry about if he's going to go do X, Y, and Z. Like, you don't have to sit here. And that's something that, like, bro, it's sad when you are with someone, or even you hear your friends like talk about their experience of dating men who will just go out and break their heart.
Yeah,
and it's sad. It's sad. It's wrong. And like, I think sometimes as friends, like, we're overly like protective, but I think it's because we truly want the best for the people that we're with. You know what I'm saying? To feel that love of like, okay, like, I'm good, like, I'm secure in this relationship, like, I know this person loves me. There's nothing like that.
Right. It's a sense of peace.
Yeah. Hold on. Is that you or me?
Is that me?
Yeah,
Buzz. Sending like Buzz Light here. Let's just shut this off for a second, y'all.
So yeah, and it's been, seeing that the new say Angella 2.0, because like it really is a new Angella 2.0, because before, I think you were kind of in your masculine era. You were definitely like in your
good.
You were in your INDEPENDENT masculine era. She was just like, it was even, I think in the beginning you were even saying how it was hard for you to accept, like, when he was coming and trying to be, the man. You were like, wait, what's this?
Yeah.
Like, you didn't know how to deal with that. And that's something that I feel like I could see that being an issue with a lot of women when they've had to be masculine and had to be on their P's and Q's until you meet a man that brings you out of that and into, oh, let me cook for you, let me do things for you. Like, it's a whole 180.
It's a whole different. Do not touch the door to the car. Do not touch any doors. Let me bring these things up for you. Let me help you. Let me cater to you. And it's almost like, oh, I can start to put away that alpha energy. Women are not meant to have this alpha energy.
Yeah.
And I carried that for a very long time. And until now, I'm kind of understanding that energy can be put away. And I'm allowed to bring that feminine energy.
Yeah.
And just bring that to the table.
Yeah. Because I think, like, you're so powerful in this version of who you are now. But yeah, that feminine side, and just that side that, like, okay, actually, no, you can take care of me. Like, I don't need to take care of every single thing.
Yeah.
And like, that's something that we've been talking about a lot, is like, just the idea of what a relationship means for us. And I think, for me too, like, I think in the beginning I was always so like alpha, like masculine alpha. And it really wasn't until I had to open my eyes and be like, yo, you need to chill. Like, let Richie let him do
his job.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, that goes back to like the Bible too, about how I think the idea of women having to be submitted is something that I don't know why our culture doesn't push that. So I know that's a really foreign topic for a lot of women, but I just think that there's a beauty behind, being submitted to a man that loves you, that honors you, that's going to take care of you. I'll submit to that. Yes. Thank you.
If he's the right one, you will know. That level of peace is beautiful. That's what a relationship should be around.
Do you think that you ever had that before this?
No, I've never had that. So that's why I can sit here and say it's different. Because my man takes pride in taking care of me. And I've never had a man. I've had a lot of heartbreaks, but I've also never been to church with a man.
That's crazy.
Can I get an amen? Because
that's what
that's like. You and Richard having your Sundays and going to church and praising God and listening to worship music. It's amazing.
Yeah. And I will say this, like, I believe so firmly. And I had this conversation with a different friend, but I was telling her, if a man is truly submitted under Christ, so if a man is truly following Jesus, he will not cheat on you. And that is something that I can say for a fact, Because if a man is truly fearing the Lord, eyes on Jesus, he's not going to do you dirty. He's not going to go the wrong way. I'm not saying that temptation doesn't happen, but if you have a man who's rooted in Christ and a man who doesn't go to church, doesn't read the Bible, doesn't have a relationship with God, they're both going to be tempted.
Oh, yeah.
But who is more likely to not cheat?
To fall into that temptation.
Who's more likely to fall into temptation? The man who isn't submitted under the Lord. And like, I know there are instances of people when you could say, oh, well, this person does this. And, you know, just because they go to church doesn't mean they're not going to cheat. If a man has taken his eyes off God, that is when he will cheat. And that's something that I feel like, to me, it's like, I believe that. Like, I think like, you know, a man who really, really loves God won't cheat on you. And if he does cheat on you, that means he took his eyes off the Lord. And that means in that moment, he was weak.
Yeah.
He was weak in that moment.
Right.
And I truly believe that a real man that honors God, he won't cheat on you, because that will literally be like the most heartbreaking thing that he could do to one of God's daughters, to have that. And it's like, to be honest, I've never really liked any of Angela's boyfriends.
Can we get, that's the truth. I will say God has always sat there and said, baby girl, you need to wake up, because let me put this in front of your face. And that's what it turns down to, is God will remove people, and don't sleep on that, because God will, you need to choose your path.
Yeah.
And if it's being presented that, you know, this is the way it is, this is who he is, then it's time for you to pack your bags, pick your dignity up, and get out of there.
And that's one thing, like, even though there has been that heartbreak, you know, there has been the cheating experience, like, you have not let yourself been played. You know what I'm saying? Like, once it's done, or once something has crossed or whatever, like, you've always known your worth. And I will always like say that, you know, quickly. It's never been like, you know, it's sad when you are in a position where it's like a constant thing and you're getting hurt and you're getting hurt. And no, like, you've realized since day one, I'm not going to deal with that. Like, I'm not going to deal with that. So it really is so beautiful to see that, not just like the way that you are with Michael, but I don't know if I should say his name, but
well said.
Yeah, the way that you talk about him. I've never heard you talk about anyone like that, you know, and that's why I'm like, oh, okay, like, you know what I'm saying? It's different. So what do you think has been like the biggest noticeable difference between Michael, or between the guy that you're dating now, keep saying his name, and like the men that you used to date before?
I will say, this is a big one, where as a child, you grow up and you start to think, when I am a mother, I want to raise my kids. I don't want anybody else doing the job. I am choosing to be a mother.
Right.
And so that was the first thing he did say to me.
Bro, and that's like, what? The first thing?
Is very powerful, is he knows what he wants, and he is willing to work hard to allow me the opportunity to raise, God willing, if when we have kids, I will be able to be there at least 1 year, 2 year, 3 year mark, and then, child, you off to school. And
it's like, bro, and then the fact that you guys that we're even talking about children, it's like 4 or 5 months ago, like, that wasn't even a topic on our mind
at all.
And that goes to show that it really does take the right individual to even open up to the idea of potentially having kids, getting married, settling down. Because before, like, if you don't have a partner that you could see yourself really, because this is when it gets real tough, when you need that strong partner in your life to support you. When you don't have that or haven't seen that, of course you're not going to be thinking about those things.
No.
You know,
and that
flying out
counts,
to Miami.
Right. That counts with the mutual morals, values. You know, you and Rich have been together for a whole, you know, different era of your guys' lives as well. But you both kind of already have had that solid foundation of values, morals, you both are very family oriented.
Yeah.
And that is probably one of the main things that you guys have had in common.
Yeah, I love that you say family oriented, because I think a lot of the times women will date for the wrong reasons. And, you know, I've seen it happen multiple times. You know, this is not anything new for sure. Like when you see a guy and this and that, I got the money and da 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 da, like that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be a good husband.
Oh no.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like just because and this is something that I feel like I struggled with for a really long time. Just talked about it recently, but just the idea that, oh, I need to find a partner that all I care about is if he has money and that's it. Like that, bro, you know how many people that have money that will just cheat on their partners or not really be like a support system for them? And it goes back to like a man who's submitted under the Lord, who is submitted under God, so that way you yourself can be submitted and like want that, you know? And it's for sure, I think a lot of women in our age, I think, date for those purposes. And I think it could be maybe fun for a while, but then after a while I think they come to the conclusion, or it's easy to come to the conclusion that like, oh wait, actually you don't want me, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't want that family, that stability, that life, you know?
That's when the values start to arise.
Yeah.
Are we here for the same reason? What's going to hold us down? That's really what it comes down to is, do you want the same thing? It doesn't have to be the same thing, right? But it has to be in a sense of having a purpose together and growing as one.
Yeah. And that's probably something that you saw from your parents.
Yeah. It's tough. My parents had a whole nother situation going on, but I will say my mom had stuck to her vows. That was something I will always admire my mom for, because it taught me dedication. It taught me, really, she moved different. And she is a very powerful woman. She cared for my dad. She still, till this day, works. She came from a whole nother war zone at the time.
Yeah.
And still wanted a better lifestyle for herself.
Yeah.
So that right there does tell me you can find love. And love is not perfect. Far from it, but you can move together and grow together in this life if you have the right person to do life with.
Right. Yeah. That's a good point. And I feel, you know, that most of us are opening our eyes to the fact that, you know, it has to go beyond love. Because it ain't always going to be love. It's not always cute. It's not always cute. Sometimes it's real grimy, you know, like, but, you know, like it says in the Bible, it's forever.
It's forever.
Forever.
It is eternal forever. Tomato. Because you got to be ready.
Yeah.
You're going to fight some wars together.
Bro, and it's so crazy, like, how we grow older and it just gets more hard. You know, like, what happened? Like, I just, you know, it's been.
Yeah, we're getting closer to 30.
Yeah. I'm 28.
Gonna be 28 next month.
That's
so
wild.
It is wild. I'm not, you know, we're not 18. We graduated college. We graduated, and it's just, life is boom, boom, bow.
Boom, boom, bow. It is.
It's moving so fast.
What would you tell, like, your younger self, if you could tell her anything?
I don't think one thing I would do is possibly seek validation.
Oh my God, that's a good one. That's a good one. That's exactly what I would tell myself too. Like, girl, you don't gotta try so hard. You don't need to do all that.
Just
put your pants on. Put your pants back on, sis. No, for real. It's like, you know, but we grew up without social media. Okay. So like in middle school, what's this with MySpace, you know? And then like high school comes, and then we get the Instagram, and then everything is centered around the likes and the this. And I know for a fact, for me, like I
preach it.
I don't even know what to say. You know, like same thing. I was seeking that outside validation in the way I was moving, the way I was dressing. It's not necessarily dressing, but like actually, yeah, maybe sometimes when I was dressing, but like the provocative photos, like. And I don't know. Do we sound old like grandmas now? Like, are we the grandmas now?
Is this what the relationship era does?
No, but it's just like I think we also see it. People don't understand. It's like, regardless of whether you want to admit it or not, you are being conditioned by the world. If you are not rooted in your relationship with God, you go on Instagram, what do you see? You see half naked women. You see, you know, all the, you are literally on Instagram, and they tell you what it means to be beautiful, what it means to be attractive, what it means to be sexy.
And half of it isn't even real.
Half of it's not even real, and it hasn't. It's superficial.
Yeah.
So what happens is we go on Instagram, 18, 19 years old, and we're now looking for that same validation.
Yeah.
Without even knowing it. And I don't think we're getting older. I think we're getting wiser in the fact that, like, bro, I don't need to put my butt on the gram for what, you know? And dude, there was a period of my time actually, like, I literally went through my photos and I was like, I posted that. I was like, oh no, girl, we are archiving that right now, because that's not a reflection of who I am. I don't need that approval.
Yeah.
I hope that, like, whoever is listening to this, like, doesn't get offended. I just really, really hope that the women who are listening to this understand that they're worth more than their bodies. Like, you yourself are not just your physical.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that Instagram has made it so that women only see themselves in this light and only appreciate their beauty if they're getting likes or if they're getting DMs on Instagram. And none of that is going to fill the void. I was the least confident back then when I was posting photos like that. Now, what? Like, I'm so happy and I'm so confident. And I'm happy that, like, you know, I was able to change my way of thinking and be like, wait, I don't like that. I don't like that. You know?
I think also, kind of going back to this point, when I was single, I had to come to realization that God gave me this one vessel. I have one job on this earth, and that's to take care of this temple. And I wasn't respecting myself. I have been in situations where, can I say I regret? Sure, but you can't say that because you learn from it.
Right, you
learn from your everything you go through. Yeah. So I do want to sit here and tell women that you are beautiful. God loves you because he made you the way you are. You are perfect. And that's a strong word. To sit here and say perfect, yes, you are. And until I think we realize self-love, self-care, you still have to tap into that.
Right.
You go get yourself a massage. You go on and do things. Yes, you need to make sure you feel good on the inside and on the outside.
For you. Right.
That's your one job on this life, is to take care of this body.
Right.
You don't need injections. You don't need, I'm not saying, do what you want, right? Like, but if you choose to just be you, you're perfect.
Yeah, no, and like you said, like, I think finding that beauty, like you said, in yourself, because I think most people, the first thing they do is run to fix instead of taking a second to realize that they already are perfect and that, their beauty is already inside them, and I think that, it's just so common, and it's so natural for women to want to fix and think that we're not good and talk all this stuff about ourselves. Like, like, I was even remembering in that period of time where I wanted to get my breasts done. And it's like, if I would have gotten my breasts done, I literally would have just done that for other people. I don't care if my boobs are small. It's fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, God gave me a nice face.
Yeah,
It's good.
right,
We can't win them all.
Right,
you know?
right.
But it's like, if we don't think about these things,
talk about these things,
we fall into that line. It's so easy to start looking at ourselves and comparing ourselves to other people, and like, thinking that we're not good enough, or like, thinking that we have to show everything in order to be beautiful. Like, that was something that truly, it made me realize, like you said, like, I don't regret anything, because I think it was a learning experience, and God willing, like, we're able to teach these lessons to our daughters, because if we don't teach them what it means to be beautiful, the world's gonna tell them.
Yeah.
And right now, the world ain't looking so good.
It's not very nice out there.
It's not. Because I was for sure, like, I was focused on the likes and the DMs and the this and the that. Like, not the DMs necessarily, because I've been with Richard for a minute, but I found myself molding and posting certain things. And I think when it comes to modesty, it's more than just what you wear. It's it is part of what you wear. You want to present yourself now, I understand, like a lady, a classy lady. But it's also the posture, how I was, what's crazy? I don't know if I told you this story ever, but I had a guy one time that I was cool with, and I ran into, he was some guy, like, it's nothing weird, nothing anything, but I used to work with him, and I saw him one day, and he was like, oh, can I talk to you? And I'm like, oh, what's up? But like, super cool, chill, nothing weird. He was never like, flirty or inappropriate, because obviously, like, I've always posted that I've been in a relationship, and he was like, oh, you're so, like, you're a smart girl, like, you went to school, like, you're about it, like, and working. He's like, you don't gotta do all that. He told me that. He straight up told me, he's like, you don't gotta post those pictures.
Oh, that caught me off guard.
No, girl, he straight up put, and on some trying to help
Very
me
respectful,
out.
yeah.
On some
I love
respectful
that.
vibe. He was like, because I was posting pictures at that time on Instagram after the gym of straight booty pics, like straight booty pics.
Good.
Girl, and like, I got so offended when he told me that. I was like, how dare this guy can tell me that I can't post no like, it was like,
I could see that.
You can see that?
I can see that.
I can see that. And then fast forward, I remember this conversation I had with this guy, and I was like, you know what? He was right, and I'm happy that, bro, in this
if
case,
that's not a sign,
bro, no, this man who doesn't know me really like that, for him to tell me, and it wasn't even anything super inappropriate, but it was just the posture, the consistency, the way that it was, and I'm like, I'm happy. Like, most people don't ever want to change the way they think. They want to be how they are forever. No, I'm 2 years later, yeah, I didn't have to represent myself like that. One, I got a man. Two, like, and it really, that conversation actually stuck with me to this day. He told me this probably like 2 years ago. 2 years ago. And I will never forget that, because sometimes we need that reality check. And even if we don't understand it in that moment, because we're so offended, down the line, if it's, maybe somebody else maybe could have told me in a different way, like someone that had a friendship with. Right. I'm not saying go call out people that you don't know, but I do think that was good that he told me that, because now I definitely see modesty and just like the way I represent myself. Like, I want to do things, and I want to feel beautiful and confident in the way I see it, not in the way that people are telling me, that I need to do this and do that. And I hope that, us women can feel that power in being confident and feeling beautiful the way we want, instead of the way other people tell us.
That's good.
Yeah. Because them booty pics were booty picking.
No, going back to social media, January 1st, I decided to do a challenge, which was 75 hard. And that includes no alcohol, reading, working out twice a day, 45 minutes, progress pictures. And so I realized I needed to take a fast from social media, because I wanted to be intentional. And I kind of fell off of my purpose on that platform.
Right.
And kind of going back now, I want to be there for people.
And I think that it's also like bringing it back to you having your eyes right now on the Lord. Like, because this is not just a you thing. Like, we all struggle with that, you know, where we focus so much on what people are saying, their approval. It's so easy. And that's why I think women, all of us, like, there's a point in time where we need to wake up. And in the most beautiful, like, nicest way, without judgment, like, this is really for our own good. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a friend, like,
Right.
having that, like, bro, like, because at the end of the day, like, if you're not happy with yourself, then what's the point? You know? And so wait, how was that? Like, you took 3 months off, because I know I was low-key kind of sad, because I was like, damn, I'm just not on Instagram. But I see that you're kind of posting now, and how was that break for you?
It was really good. I think at some point I caught myself just mindlessly scrolling. And I didn't like that. I didn't like that feeling. I didn't have a sense of purpose doing that.
Yeah.
So I took that break, and I wanted to set intentions, right? So let's go back to using this platform. Right. I want to be able to put my business out there. I want to be able to find businesses, or how can I...
Positivity, support. Because even, like, I do love, like, you're someone that, you know, very healthy. You've taken your health seriously, and, like, on some real... She don't even let us eat no McDonald's, no Taco Bell. Like, she is about her fitness, and... You know, I really loved seeing that version too. Like, okay, like, what is she posting to eat? Got the, you know, all these different things. And, you know, really treating your body as that temple in so many different ways. Not just, like, you know, and romantically, but also really, what was that, like, turning point for you? Because I don't think it's always been like that, right? But it's for now, it's been your lifestyle for a long time.
Yeah, it's definitely a lifestyle. I think it was... I realized there are generational curses we need to break. In my family, we have diabetes. We have certain diseases that arise just from food. It's an addiction, you know, to eat. Yeah, to have certain addictions to sugar, to fast food. And I realized I want to do better. We have so many resources to really learn from. And I have a bachelor's of science in public health because I did not want to fail my body.
Well, also you saw your dad. And
I seen my dad. Yeah.
And that will change.
That
everything.
will, you know, kind of just briefly.
No, yeah, let's
talk about what really changed me as a person. When I was 15, my dad had a stroke. And so that kind of started because he was a diabetic. And he basically, diabetics can get internal bleeding in the eye. And so you have to have an injection that stops the red blood cells from taking over your eye, basically, which can lead to blindness. And so it was this whole thing where a medical error happened, and he was injected with what kills breast cancer in the eye.
So crazy.
Complete medical error. Awful. Unimaginable. So this man, from when I turned 15, had fought 10 years for his life, and he was left paralyzed.
So right after he got the injection in his eye that wasn't supposed to happen, medical error, was left blind. How did you guys find that out?
Because it happened to 3 other veterans.
Wow.
Yeah. So they realized that they used the wrong chemical.
Oh my gosh.
And so what do?
Right.
You can't fight the government.
Right.
And so from that point on, I've seen so much in hospitals, right? Like my dad being a patient himself, but let alone like a hospital as a whole. What are we doing wrong? You're here because you have this illness that can be reversed
by food.
by habits, by lifestyles, by foods. Like, the culture is not being educated. Why? Because money.
Right.
It's simple as that. Is hospitals make money.
Right.
And that's what keeps the stream flowing.
And it's like, that's why it's like, bro, like, your health, like, it's coming at a price. If you don't,
Your health is wealth.
your health is wealth. You know what I'm
When
saying?
Nipsey said that, he meant that.
You know, and it's like, dude, people, like, why, if we know better, why don't we do better? Like, why? What do you, like, because that's something that, you know, like, this is real. Like, bro, they don't want you to be healthy. They ain't, that's why I'm like, bro, the doctors, like, obviously there are really great things about, you know, medicine and this and that, but it's like, bro, what you can do with your nutrition, and I've learned a lot of that from just seeing you know, just seeing you, and for sure. And like, you know, I've experienced, you know, my grandparents having dialysis and all these sicknesses, and it's like, bro, like, we're all gonna get to that point eventually down the line when we're old. But it's like, how can we be the best version of ourselves in that season? And it really is like, bro, even no drink, like how you haven't been drinking alcohol. We've both kind of been on that fast.
We have. That's different for us too.
That's a whole lot of different. We did not. That's
been a journey. A very powerful one though.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed being sober. I've enjoyed not having any alcohol. I've enjoyed, you know, just feeling powerful in my body, like not waking up hungover. You know, like, I mean, I know down the line, like, when the time is right, like, but taking those breaks for your body, and it's like, you treating your body, not just, you can't just have whatever you want. I mean, you can, but it's gonna cost you.
Comes with the price.
It comes with the price. And it's like, we're all about, you know, let's go out to have our dinners, like, enjoy, because we love to eat.
Oh yeah. I work out to eat.
You work out to eat. Just not McDonald's or Taco Bell.
I would never.
But I mean, we do enjoy.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like the balance.
That's all life is.
Yeah.
It takes a solid balance. And I'm gonna fight for that balance, because that fight will never stop. It's a lifestyle. And you fall off, get right back on. That was basically like evolutionary for me, is witnessing how can we do better to take care of ourselves.
Yeah, because you have firsthand, like, taking care of your dad and the mobility, everything is just hard.
Yeah, that was like a whole nother thing where it's like, growing up, do I want to be a nurse?
Yeah.
Do I want to be somebody that does rehabilitation? How do I get this mobility back? Like, can my dad walk again? Can he move his arm again? Imagine day to night that being taken away from you. And that was a very hard thing, is to be able to take care of my dad, pick him up, put him in a wheelchair, put him back in the bed. He relied on people. He couldn't do life alone. And so that was a huge eye opener for me, is my health.
Yeah.
Like, I want to take care of my mom, like, I will thank my mom. She never had Frosty Flakes in the house. She never had soda. Like, she was very mindful. So when we would go to my cousin's house, we would binge on Frosted Flakes. Like, we would finish the whole box, because this just wasn't something allowed in our house. And growing up now, I don't have that kind of stuff in my house.
Bro, Angela has like black seeds, crackers, like
it's all organic. Like this, I try to, you know,
which
obviously
is good. It's good.
I still, you know, I still have my cheat days, cheat meals, but
what's the cheat meals? Wait, I gotta hear what your cheat meal is, because I'm kind of concerned, because she's like, my cheat meal is like some celery.
No, right. My guilty pleasure is Jay, my roommate.
Don't be saying those peanut butter.
No, that right. He makes this tres leche cake. I have a piece in the fridge. You want to try it?
Oh yeah, I do want to.
I want you guys to see her reaction.
I do want to try it.
No,
I need that.
This is it, girl.
And for sure, the sweets have been like more, since we haven't started, I was telling people that because we're not drinking alcohol, I think that our sweet tooth, for sure, mine has gotten crazy. So this is Jay's cheesecake. No. Tres leches. Tres leches. We're eating his tres leches. Is he gonna get mad? Okay.
He made it at his mom's house. Okay. And he knows that this is just
what we like.
One of my guilty pleasures.
Damn. That looks so good. No way.
Please, like, take a whole spoonful.
Girl, this looks crazy. I don't want to get it on the couch. That's a big bite.
Open wide.
That's a real big bite. Okay. No. Actually, that's so good.
What?
That's literally how my eyes went. I'm like,
we'll come back to this later.
That's good. So bomb.
Amazing.
With the strawberries.
Amazing.
Wow. That's so good. I love that. And dude, I think for sure your dad was sick for the last 10 years, but his spirit was always that man.
I thank God so much for this. My dad, he had to live life different and in a whole new way because, mind you, he was a Marine. He did life on his own for a very long time. My parents are 12 years apart.
Wow.
So I am grateful to God that my dad never once questioned God. Never sat there and told me,
wow,
I never want to live. I hate my life.
And like, this is someone who was completely immobile.
Completely.
And like, like that type of mind to have, to still thank God, that is faith. And that is now in you.
I'm grateful for that.
One thing I will never forget is when we went to Tijuana. I'm going to tell y'all this story. Angela probably already know this one, but we were different back then. Okay?
Yeah.
I don't even know how old we were. We were probably like 20, 21.
No, we were like 19, 18.
Okay, so mind you, 19, 18, we're like, we're going to go to Tijuana. We're going to go to Rosarito. Da, 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 da. And I pull up with my cousin Bree to Angela's. And Angela's just packing her bag. First of all, your mom wasn't even on board. You're like, well, I'm just going to go.
Esta no pide permiso.
And you're like, it's okay, it's fine. You're just packing your bag. And me and Brie are like, wait, what is going on right now? And then I remember walking out and your dad was there in the living room. And he was already,
in his wheelchair.
He was sick at the time. But like the way he looked at me, y'all, he was like, if you don't bring my daughter back. And I was like, yes, sir. Like I literally actually will never forget that. Like he was standing on business about his daughter. He said, oh, you're going to take her to Rosarito? If you don't bring her back, I will find you. And I was like, oh, this man, Dennis, is not playing no game.
No, he's not. That menace, Dennis the Menace, was about it.
That's literally.
Yeah. That was funny. That was probably, one thing. And that's awesome to me that, you did see my dad also growing up. Yeah. Like before he got ill, you did meet him. And then in that journey of my life, so that's awesome.
And seeing you as bro, seeing the way that you moved and really carried that family, you carried that whole situation. Even when you're your dad passed, I literally will never forget. I'm like, bro, you are different. The way that you had it all figured out together, bro, this stuff, Achi, that you were doing and handling at one of the hardest seasons of your life, that is the woman that you are, that powerful, because you were going through something so hard, but you had it together.
Yeah, that was my best friend. He did teach me so much, and he was an artist. He loved God so much. He played the guitar and would sing just randomly in the living room. And I got to witness a man who loved God and always put him first. But that was a very difficult chapter in my life. It happened May 3rd. And then my birthday's May 26th. So that was really, really hard for me turning 26.
Yeah.
So that 1/4 of my life,
It was a hard quarter.
being 25, like I will never forget that. But I knew when we did that life celebration, anybody that's going through losing somebody who means so much, I understand that pain. But I wanted to have that life celebration for my dad. I wanted it to be
Happy.
outside, outdoors, people just remembering him for who he was.
Yeah.
You know, aside from all the illnesses and things that he fought through, I didn't want people to remember him like that. Even myself. I wanted to remember this person for who they were and what they accomplished in this life.
Yeah.
And that was something I had to do to heal.
You did that, you know?
Yeah.
It was a beautiful celebration. Like, it really was that. It was, you know, something that I don't think I've ever been to anything like that, where it was just really honoring and remembering him.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't think about how it was maybe the last, you know what it was.
Yeah.
You know? But, like, I know for a fact your dad's so proud of you. You know what I'm saying? Proud of the woman that you are, that you're becoming. And I'm so grateful that you have, you know, found a partner that, like, I know that your dad would be so proud of. Like, the fact that he knows, okay, like, my daughter's good. You know?
And that's hard too, to think, you know, someday when you go down that aisle is you dream of walking with your dad down that aisle, your dad walking you.
Yeah.
And for me to no longer have that experience is tough.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think it is really nice to have such a supportive partner and willing to do what it takes to see me smile.
Yeah.
That's deep.
That's deep. That's so deep. That's so deep, girl. That's special.
That's special.
That's so special. Yeah. Honestly. Well, girl.
We're doing it.
We're doing it. What do you think would be like something that you would be able to give someone who's going through that season of like losing someone or grieving a lost parent? Like, what really helped you in that? I mean, obviously everyone's different. I think if you're like next day you're already figuring it out, you know, which is definitely commending to you.
Thank you. It's hard. I had many years to cope. Scientifically speaking, that day was going to come, right? But I had 10 years to heal and be prepared. You're never really prepared for that moment, but I wanted to be strong and show that life doesn't stop. Life kept going for me. Like it didn't matter regardless of what was happening in that moment. I still had to fight for my happiness. And I lost somebody that meant the world to me. And I think it's important that you stand still for a second and really recognize those signs around you.
Like after.
God moves through people. God moves through and he will help you through this. You're not left alone. And I really do appreciate my friends. You know, you were there for me. My family, like my girlfriends were there. My family really showed up. And that meant so much to me, is knowing I had a community. I had a village to support me.
Yeah.
And I couldn't thank God more for that.
Yeah.
But you're not alone. Like you might feel like you have to carry this weight by yourself, but don't feel like you're alone.
Yeah, you have that.
You
village, like
have, even if you come to us,
right?
like we want people to come to us. Like, let's do this together.
Yeah.
And
I love how you say that.
And that's all it is doing things together. No matter what it is.
Yeah. And I like how you said, like fighting for your happiness. Fighting for your happiness, bro. Because it's like, you didn't just sit there and like, okay, well, you felt what you needed to feel, but it's like that sometimes you really do gotta fight for that happiness and fight for that light, because it's not always easy. And to hear you even just say that, and this is a real testimony to who you are, actually. Like, literally, like, witnessing firsthand the way you handled that whole situation, I had a whole different respect and light for you. Completely, like, bro, like that right there, that is a woman of God. You know what I'm saying? Like, that only God can really move you in that way and give you that strength and that power to fight. And because you grew up in like seeing that and knowing like God is always on your side, he's always with you, like really showed up in those moments when you could have easily just thrown in the towel, gotten mad, forgotten about that, and you didn't. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so wild.
I do thank my mom. She has an unconditional love, and I wanted to be there for her. She was always there for everybody but herself. So I wanted to show up to the plate and say, I can handle this. I got your back. Your life partner is no longer here, but I'm here.
That's beautiful. That's really beautiful, Achi. We gotta end this before we start crying.
You and I go get you a box of tissues, Achi.
I know, guys. This is like, no, you literally, like, I be crying all the time, but this was like even more like, I'm like, bro, how am I crying and she's not crying? Like, what does it make sense? Wow. This was a really good episode.
No, this was awesome.
I'm so happy that you came on the podcast. We're definitely gonna do around 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It just feels so good. It feels right. It feels easy, and like, I'm just so thankful for you and that you shared, your experience and just took a second to just always be such an amazing friend, not just like literally on this podcast, but just, in every single phase. You're a really amazing person, and I hope that God continues to bless you and that so many great things happen, and like that life just gets better and better and better for you, because you're Achi.
We deserve it. And I'm so proud of you. I'm ecstatic. I'm here to rejoice with you. And this is huge. Yeah. Like, I love this. I love seeing you. I love witnessing this. And it just brings so much joy to my heart, because you're not only impacting me, but those women out there, and men. Let's not forget about y'all. But it's a very powerful thing, is to be able to use our voice, our testimonies. And that's all God wants, is for us to share these testimonies.
Share these testimonies for sure. And like, this is all for him. You know what I'm saying? Like, you even speaking about like the community, like having these people around you, like this is what life is about. This is it. Having your community and finding that strong foundation in Christ, because he will get you through so many moments, and he will literally bless you in so many ways. And I'm just so thankful that like we have our friendship now, and like that we're just able to be here, like after all, like, everything. It's just, God is really so good.
We did it.
We did it, girl.
Did it, y'all. Like, we were kids. Now we are women with the high temperature.
Thank you guys so much for listening to the episode. I really appreciate you guys. Make sure that you like and subscribe to all the places. We'll definitely be seeing Achi back for round 2. Any last words, sister?
It was a pleasure.
Yay.
And I hope that you guys enjoy this.
Yeah.
It means so much to me. And any feedback, whatever people need from us, we're here.
Yeah, plug your Instagram.
Yeah, it's Angella35, Angella 35.
Yes. All right, perfect. We'll see you guys
Bye, y'all.
on the next one. Bye.